Well, hello, welcome back to another video. Now today I've come down to a high tide mark. We've got a big spring tide today, and I'm going to be targeting some mackerel again. Now I'm after some today, maybe one or two that I can eat, and then also if I can get a few more, I'm going to stock my freezer up for some bait for turbot fishing off the boat, bass fishing later in the year. So we're out to see if we can find any. We got a rising tide, like I said, it's a big spring tide today. Now it can get a little hairy at this spot on a spring tide, especially when there's a swell rolling, and we do have a bit of a swell today. So we got an hour and a half until high water. I'm probably going to get cut off here, but as long as the swell doesn't start breaking against the rocks, I should be fine. Now I've got the light gear with me today. I'm going to be fishing this deep water, so the lightest I'm going to go is my 7 to 35 gram lure rod. Got little metals I'm going to chuck out. I have also bought my other rod with me, so I may throw out some feathers later on as well. But yeah, we're just here to have a bit of fun, nice and early in the morning. Usually a good time for mackerel, so let's hope there's a few about. So this is the lure rod I'm using today, just my normal bass lure rod, and the metal I've got, these actually came in the post last week. And what I didn't realise is the last mackerel video I did, I was using a sidewinder metal. These are pretty much identical. They have a slightly different profile, but they're pretty much identical. Same size hooks, pretty much the same size body. These are Major Craft jig para, 20 gram little metals, assist hook, treble at the back. Yeah, I'm using a 4000 size reel, 7 to 35 gram lure rod, and it's going to be going out into there. This is deep water here, and obviously with the rising tide it's only going to get deeper. There's going to be a bit of a current as well. Got a lot of tide pull on this side especially, but hopefully the mackerel should be fairly close in, so I shouldn't have to launch a lure out, especially on a light rod. I'll leave that for the feathers later on if I can't find any at first. So they should be fairly close in, and there's always a chance of a pollock or something like that here as well. Obviously garfish too. So we'll see. Got a stunning day. That's Fort Doyle there. Let's get those mackerel. Now I will just see how it goes here, because as I said, as of yesterday we've had quite a large swell come in, and with it being a spring tide here, as it approaches high water it can get a little hairy sometimes, but we'll just see what it's like. It's mostly to my left hand side as well. The swell breaks against the rocks, sorry. But I'm sure we'll be okay. Well, I'm into my first fish, third cast in. That was really deep. Oh, it's pulling a bit. Where is it? Whoa. It is a mackerel. Good size mackerel too. Nice. There we go. First fish in. Oh, my reel, my expensive reel against the rocks. Well, here we are. Well, there we go. There's our first mackerel. He's nicely hooked there. But there we are. One lovely local Guernsey mackerel. Beautiful on the light gear. That one actually took really deep, but let's hope there's a few more around. Cracking start. So that one actually took really deep. What actually happened there was I cast the lure out. My line got wrapped around the tip of my rod, so as I was just sorting that out, obviously the lure was sinking. As soon as I wound into it, bang, there was a fish on. So they're quite, well, that one at least was quite deep in the water. Let's see if we can find some more. It's great fun, especially in deep water. The way they pull, and in the tide as well, give you a real flex in the rod. So back down we go. And like I said, that lure was sinking whilst I was sorting my line out. So I'm going to let it go as close to the bottom as I can get it, really, without getting snagged up. There is one big rock right in front of me here, but you can see that tide coming in. Creates all the swirling action around all the rocks. So I'm flicking the lure out kind of far now because I've had quite a play around close in and there doesn't seem to be anything there. So I'm just flicking it out a little bit further and fishing it fairly deep. Just let it settle a bit, find its way to the bottom because it will get taken in the tide. It's only a 20-gram lure. Well, it looks like I'm going to be here for the time being. I'm definitely cut off now. You won't be able to see from here, but all the water's flooding in that side. And we've got a good 50 minutes, 55 minutes till high water. So I'm going to be here for a little while, which is absolutely fine by me. Now, like I said, that swell, some of the rollers coming in, the swell swings around from the northwest there and comes around this area, and you just see it rolling through. It's actually got quite choppy out there now as that tide's risen. So yeah, I've flicked out the feathers a few times, had no hits, no mackerel at all. So I might just wait till the top of the tide until it slackens off a little bit. I feel like that's going to be the best bet. There's some really big waves coming in. So like I was saying before, it can get a bit hairy here sometimes when there's a swell running. I mean, you've got a big tide. But I should be absolutely fine. There's higher rocks there, so if you ever were in a bit of a pickle, just jump up to the higher rocks, wait it out. So yeah, I'll probably flick the lure out again, see if we can find any more fish. A pollock would be nice, but we'll just see what comes along. So this has turned into a bit of a fiasco really. Now that tide's come up a little bit higher than I thought it would. I always knew I'd get cut off here on a 9-metre tide, but with that swell it's really pumping in. I've had to move up to the highest rock, which is where I was before. It's flooding over that easily now, all into the big rock pool here, which people will know. But yeah, it's really quite lumpy. Now I've ditched the light gear. There's no way at all. The tide is moving so fast. A little 20-gram lure is just getting absolutely taken. And if you were to hook a decent fish, there's no way you're getting it up. So I've been flicking out the feathers for quite a while now, and I've had absolutely nothing. My thinking is that it's just a little bit too rough. We're coming up to the top of the tide. I reckon there would be mackerel here, but you'd want to fish it a good hour into the drop, I think, and probably fish it for an hour or two then. So I'm stuck here either way. To cure the boredom, I'm just flicking out the feathers every now and then. If I get anything, I'll let you know, but I'm just going to wait it out. We've only got about half an hour now until high water, so it should slacken off a little bit within the next hour or so. Whether I stay here, I'm not too sure. I'll see how it goes, and I don't know, I might continue this session another time. Well, it's a windy and wild one today. I don't know if you can see in the water, but it's absolutely full of weed. Now, I've been bored out of my mind. The fishing has been terrible, so I've come back to see if I can catch a mackerel. I haven't been here since the last time I was here, which was probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago now. We got wind straight in the face. Let's see if we can find a fish. I've got a 30-gram metal on. It's the heaviest metal I've got with me. I'm literally just casting it out, let it sink, see if anything bites. Oh, that's definitely not what we want. So much weed on the surface. Well, I'm into a little fish here. Thought I just hit a bit of weed. However, we have ourselves a little micro pollock. Look at the size of that. All right, mate, calm down. There we go, little micro pollock there. He's not going to let me grab hold of him. Come on. There we go, absolute micro pollock. Well, I thought I actually hit a little bit of weed, but yeah, little mini fish there. Perfection in miniature. Quality. Right, let's get this little guy back. Little miniature pollock. Back into the rough. Well, there's so much weed in the water. There's also massive jellyfish down there. There's loads of them near the surface, but there's a huge one there. Now I'm casting out, keeping the rod low so the slack line doesn't get blown about everywhere. But even on the retrieve I can feel the line on the surface of the water hitting all of that weed. But I wonder if there's a mackerel this close in. I do find sometimes when it's rough they tend to move further out, go into deep. Oh, there's a fish. Well, that was a hit. Could that have been a mackerel? Right, well that's enough of that. It's too rough here and there really isn't a lot happening, or anything happening really. So I'm going to head off somewhere else and might go and try for a bass or possibly a wrasse. Well, what a difference a day makes. Now it's the day after. I'm back at Fort Doyle and I'm going to be trying for a mackerel again. Now you wouldn't believe that literally 24 hours ago it was a completely different story. You can see here the sea's flat calm. There's still a little bit of weed on the surface, but nowhere near as much as yesterday. There's no white water, no swell, very little wind, and the wind is behind me today. So yeah, there's a few boats out here. There's boats right up on the north there, the tower at the north fishing there. So I'm hoping today we can find a mackerel. I'm going to be chucking out the same metal lure, the little sidewinder mimic jig, and we'll see if we can connect to anything. Now straight away I can see a lot of little fish in the water. They could be little, really tiny baby mullet, possibly. There's quite a few of them in there. But what a difference today is. Really is crazy. Typical British weather, typical British summer. But I wonder if there's any mackerel here. There's a couple people fishing off a boat just in front of me. They're probably after mackerel as well. Well, I'm into a fish here. That's a really weird take. I'm not sure if it's another small pollock or a mackerel. It's not fighting like a mackerel. It's really, really deep. Actually, I think, yeah, it is a mackerel, I think. Whoa, it is a mackerel. Lovely job. Oh, stay on there, mate. That was right near the bottom as well. Come on. Yes. Well, that'll do nicely. Whoa. Ah, yes. We got what we came for. Whoa. All right, mate. I'm actually just going to put this fish out its misery. Wow, that's nice. Happy to get a mackerel. That was taken right at the bottom, literally right at the bottom. I was fishing it so close, I was getting caught in the kelp down there. And yeah, had that little take. I actually thought it could have been another little pollock. But we got ourselves a lovely little mackerel there. So that one's going to be coming home for tea. Absolutely beautiful. Well, I'll tell you what, to say yesterday was so miserable, it's absolutely baking now. My neck is burning. I think it's going to be time for a swim in an hour or so. Ah, and that's what you don't want. I've been lucky so far. I've just been, if the lure's got caught, it's just been hitting the top of the kelp. That one has gone right behind that bloody rock. Come on, let's get this back. Try it from a different angle. It does seem pretty stuck in there though. Yeah, I'm going to lose that. That's actually on the rock rather than the weed. Good thing with using heavy braid. Well, this is 26-pound braid I use on my bass rod. 9 times out of 10 you can pull it out the snags when it's just in the weed. I'm going to lose this. Oh well, it's going to have to be a snappage. Oh, I got it back. I may, I've got it back. Hey, yes. Well, there we go. Maybe it wasn't in the rock. Maybe it was the weed. But yeah, that's handy that when you're using heavier braid. As I said, a lot of the time you can just pull it out the snag. You can bully it a little bit, tighten the drag up, and yeah, just pull it out the snag. So I was lucky there. So a little tip and something I always do when I've been jigging any type of lure. This is the rod I use for my bass fishing. So I've had enough now. What I do is I bang the lure out like that, and then I just straight retrieve it all the way in, just to get that line lay as you want it for next time you go out fishing. Because obviously when you're jigging any lure, you're jigging for wrasse or mackerel, anything like that, you're reeling in the slack line all the time. So when it's going back onto your reel, it's going on very loosely. So just by casting your lure out, and then winding it straight back in like that. You should have your nice line lay on the reel, ready to go for next time. So that's it. I've been here 3 times. I've caught 2 mackerel and 1 baby pollock. Now that goes to show how the fishing's been over here lately. We've got a lot of small fish about. I've had a few small bass, but nothing over literally £1.50. Yeah, the fish have seemed to, I don't know, just moved off a little bit. The mackerel fishing, I've been, I think 3 or 4 times now, and apart from the first time I went out and I managed to catch quite a few, yeah, it's literally been either none or 1. But that's how it goes sometimes. It's still a lot of fun lure fishing off the rocks. With summer here now, hopefully later on, maybe into the month or maybe next month, we should start seeing some better numbers of mackerel. So sure enough, I'll be out again chucking some metal lures off the rocks, trying to catch some fish. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.